Like, yeah, I know in high school, like girls would like rub the magazine paper like on themselves to smell like the perfume that in the magazine. Get some essence of emerald in there, a little.
Yeah. Yeah, Food Network magazine, dude.
Rub it around your plate.
Mm-hmm. I believe it is me, isn't it?
Isn't it, mate?
The governor. Hello and welcome to Whip Cream Salmon, the show where we talk about all things food, friends, and fuckery. I'm your host, Brian Costanza. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host and co-noodle boy, Ronnie Sanchez.
How we doing?
Happy to be here. We're here on a Thursday. We're mixing it up.
Thursday, yeah.
We always mix it up.
Tuesday was rough for me. It was a long work day. I was tired.
Let's hear about it.
I was like, yeah, it was just nothing really too exciting. It was just a long, arduous work day in the kitchen. You know, it was one of those days where it was like, it was the end was never getting any closer.
Yeah.
And every time you turned around, there was just like one more thing that you needed to do. And every time you finished a project, you're like searching for a container to put it in. And before you could put it away, it was like had to consolidate something else and then clean that thing and then put it away. You know, it was just one of those. It was just like the day was just dragging on. And yeah, I was exhausted. You know, I want to have good energy when we come on the show. And
yeah,
Tuesday was not it for your boy. So
Big Ron energy. We need it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing the heat right now.
Yeah,
we're here.
Back.
We're doing
We're
it.
back. Doing it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You threw down on some Peruvian chicken. I saw.
I sure did.
Spatchcocked a chicken too.
Spatchcocked it. Yeah.
Let's go.
I debated a bunch back and forth of like how I was going to go about it. Whether I was I going to like break it down and do it like individual pieces, or was I going to get a bunch of thighs? I was looking at a couple recipes. It seems like it's very much or usually a whole chicken.
Okay.
I think that's pretty safe to say from the recipes that I looked at. And has been a little while since I spatchcocked a little motherfucker, so that was pretty cool. For those who don't know, spatchcocking, take out the backbone of the chicken, save that backbone, throw it in the freezer for a later stock at a later date. But then you just split that open and flatten it out. It's like 2 half chickens basically, and then I made the marinade. I thought it was awesome. I'm gonna read off the list of ingredients. The list of ingredients here.
It's such a banger of a dish.
Yeah, and let me know if you think you'd do something differently, or I just
sure.
I made a marinade with it's like a lot of garlic, some ginger, whole cumin, whole coriander, toasted, and then spun up. Some mint, rosemary, and red wine vinegar was kind of most of it. Some olive oil is in there.
Okay.
Spun that up, thick paste, and then marinated the hell out of that thing. Got like under the skin, under like the breast skin, like rubbed it in all nice like that, and all over the place, and did like a 48-hour marinade on.
There's no soy in that marinade?
Soy. You're right. Okay. I didn't write that down, but you're right. There is. Yep. Lot of crossover between Asian cuisine and Peruvian cuisine. Something I knew about, but yeah, it's very interesting of a South American cuisine. I think that's I just think that it's really cool. You hear a lot about soy and ginger coming over. So
last week we talked a lot about like, you know, places that we want to travel for food and didn't mention Peru, and that's definitely like way high up on the list of like really awesome food countries.
Sure, totally. There was an episode of, I don't know if it was No Reservations or some Bourdain show where he's in Peru and he's like eating ceviche with some locals and like at their house and like on the water, and it's just seems like a really, really fucking good time. I mean,
So sick.
when you're Bourdain, you get to go into like homes and people greet you with like the most like with the best cuisine like you've ever had.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be exactly like that for us just wandering around Lima, but yeah, definitely high on the list of places to go for sure. I actually did
Yeah.
a little speaking of soy sauce, we talked a little last week about what is soy sauce and how is it made, and I did learn about it, so I'd like to share that.
Okay.
It's a 5-ingredient sauce: soybeans, water, yeast, and wheat. Um, and the soybeans are first like rinsed a bunch, and then they're cooked in boiling water. At the same time, the wheat is toasted and then ground up, and then that mixture gets mixed together, and they add yeast to that. So that's like the initial fermentation,
Mm.
and that might take like anywhere from like a few days to a few weeks of that like initial fermentation, and then they make a salt solution where and like boil that and then add that entire mixture together, and then that's called a moromi, if I'm saying that correctly.
Okay.
And that's like then that gets boiled together and then fermented for a year is what I saw.
I think it's like a minimum of a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, the person that I was watching on YouTube, they're at like a kind of like a boutique soy sauce manufacturer, and they
Mm-hmm.
did it for a year, and in like aged like bourbon barrels, and then
Yep.
take that out, pour that into like a, it's not cheesecloth, but it's like it's like finer than cheesecloth press, and then they like press out, and what you're left with is the soy sauce, and then the moromi, they said gets reused for like animal feed, basically. But
Interesting.
seems pretty simple, but definitely like a long process. Not sure that we really have the equipment or the time or the space to do that at the house. I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
But it doesn't seem too technical. Like, it seems like if you really wanted to, you could do it in a restaurant. But like, yeah, a year is a long time to prep something.
Yeah. I know I have seen you know, videos of like soy sauce manufacturers, and the rooms that they do this in, they're just like these massive like pits in the ground, and on the surface it looks like really gnarly. Like it's this like black, like I don't know, almost looks uh like um like cooled lava on the top. This like
Mm,
craggly like surface. It looks super gnarly, and then but underneath that, like all the liquid is, all the soy sauce is under that. And then
gotcha.
the liquid is what they press through that cheesecloth. Super interesting.
Gotcha. The video I was watching had like it was like a kind of like you're saying, like very thick. This
Hmm.
was like brown color.
Yeah.
What I was watching, it was like very like a, I don't know, like a deep like kind of mud color.
Yeah. I should say like the older they are, the blacker and like gnarlier
Mm,
they look.
that makes sense. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think they come through and like stir them every once in a while, and it's a pretty interesting process. Letting things rot for flavor.
So much of the stuff that we love is like goes through that process. There's some really
Hmm.
interesting flavors that you get from fermenting, whether it's hot sauce, whether it's soy sauce, whether it's beer and wine and liquor and all the, yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, that's soy sauce. Oh, and he also with the Peruvian chicken made the ají verde,
Hmm.
which is I guess go hand in hand, right? Like the Peruvian chicken and the ají verde, and that was mayo, lime, jalapeno, cilantro, scallions, pretty much. Did I miss anything? Maybe some spices, salt and pepper, and then just spun up in the blender. Super green,
Yeah.
and really like acidic, very like lime forward. And it went great with the chicken. And I did some beans and rice with the chicken. I had there was some ham hock that I had frozen in the freezer. Pulled that out, made the beans with that.
Oh yeah.
Chop that up, throw it back in.
Such a good dish.
It was a really good time. It was a hit. Sam liked it. Yeah, it was great.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was stoked that
Fire.
you made it. It's a fun one, and
Fire.
the flavors are.
Yeah,
I mean, those are like a combination of all my favorite flavors right there.
for sure.
You know, soy and lime and cilantro, like garlic.
Yeah.
It doesn't really get too much better in my mind.
Turn up, yeah. Before we get into what you cooked, let's pour some
Crack
drinks,
our
huh?
beers. Let's crack our beers. I just went with the old classic, a little New Belgium Fat Tire Ale.
Ooh, a little fatty.
A little fatty.
I'm actually not drinking a beer with you, unfortunately, Ronnie.
What are you drinking?
I got myself some whiskey.
A whiskey. I had a bottle of tequila downstairs because I'd forgot that I had beer in my fridge, and I really was gonna make myself a tequila drink.
I got a bottle of Larceny here.
Okay.
Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, small batch, 92 proofer.
Yeehaw.
Pour myself a little. Turn the F up.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Tink. Yeah, so you challenged me to make gumbo.
Yeah.
Which I haven't done, and I'm trying to remember if I've ever made it. I feel like I have, but I don't know. I make a jambalaya usually like once or twice a year, and that's love jambalaya.
Sure.
But yeah, I couldn't remember making gumbo, and it came out great. I'm a little. I don't fully understand the process of the gumbo, right? Like you cook your roux for like a super long time until it gets like
dark roux.
Yeah, dude, to the point where you're starting to question. You're like, is it burnt? You're like, no, it's not burnt. I don't think it's burnt. It's getting really, really dark. Very dark.
And that's like specific to that. I don't know if it's just gumbo, but like the dark roux is Creole cuisine. They like, right?
Right. And I don't fully understand
the intent of it or what the purpose is. I think it's flavor, right? I mean, you got the butter in there and you're getting this like deep, dark, like almost like bitter flavor though, like to your point, right? Like you're getting it to like.
Well, actually, Emerald doesn't do butter.
Oh, my guy?
You know, we're a big Emerald pod.
It's a big Emerald pod. Lagasse doesn't do butter in his roux.
He doesn't do butter. He does oil.
Okay.
He does oil.
What kind of oil? Like neutral?
He said canola. I didn't. I had some avocado oil, which don't think that's traditional. Actually, I had some chicken fat, some schmaltz.
Ooh.
So I did. It was kind of like half and half schmaltz and avocado oil. Okay. But yeah, cook the roux till real dark. Actually, Emerald says to cook your roux and for approximately 2 beers worth of time. So in the time that it takes you to drink 2 beers is how long your roux should take, according to Emerald. So that's what I did. Drank 2 beers, cooked my roux.
What's the average Ronnie Sanchez time per beer?
And like 2.5 minutes.
TPB.
5 minutes. No, I don't know. It's probably like 20 minutes I cooked it.
You got a 10-minute TPD on there? That's pretty good. That's college Sanchez right there.
No, it really yeah, no, I'm past my prime. It really I just cooked it until I was like, I'm not sure if I can cook this any further without it just being burnt.
Sure.
Yeah, and then from there you add in your onion, bell pepper, celery, kind of sweat that down, add a bunch of garlic, and then beer. And I actually had my leftover chicken stock from when I made the chicken and dumplings. So added that in there. And then I don't ever really use okra because they're slimy and
so cummy,
snotty, so cummy. It's kind of gross. But when in Rome or
when in New Orleans,
NOLA, yeah. Threw a bunch of it in there, and I actually did enjoy it. For a little bit, it was just like it made the soup or the gumbo so snotty.
Mm.
But it mellowed out after a while. And
It's important to the thickness of the soup, right? I mean, like you're getting some from the roux, but as you cook a roux, or the darker you cook a roux, the less thickening power it has. So I don't know that it has like, by the time you're actually like getting your stock in there, I don't know how much it's actually going to thicken that.
Right.
And it is a soup anyway, right? It's not supposed to come out like a velouté or a demi or something. It is supposed to be soupy. But I don't think, I think I think the okra, I think the thickening power of the okra is more so than the roux probably in the recipe.
Yeah. And the like seeds inside the okra, they're like, I don't know. They lend like a nice texture to your soup, you know. Kind of like poppy. And then had some andouille sausage, some shrimp, and some chicken thighs. And it was great. It was delicious.
It's awesome. It looks great.
And what the other thing that I don't really understand is the gumbo filet or file, however you pronounce it. I think it's filet. Emerald didn't use it. I bought some anyways, and it says to add it at the end. Okay. And I think that the filet is actually like a thickening agent. I'm not sure that even lends very much flavor to it. I tasted it straight up. Doesn't really taste like anything. It's just sassafras root is what the powder is. So yeah, I think it's just a thickening agent. I could be totally wrong, and if I'm wrong, let me know. Send us a message.
How much volume per, like, how much did you make, and how much filet did you put in there?
I probably made, I don't know, 2.5, 3 quarts.
Okay.
And I probably put like I don't know, 2 teaspoons in.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah. I don't know. It was at the end. I was like, it already tastes good. It looks good. I'm adding this stuff like just because I think I'm supposed to, but I threw it all in there. I was like, don't really know what I did to it or what that was supposed to accomplish, but I don't feel like it really added anything. Maybe it was a little thicker. Maybe I didn't add nearly enough. I really don't know. I mean, I could have done more research, but at that point I was like, everything looks good, smells good, tastes good.
Look fire.
Send it. And just add it with some rice. It was delicious.
And the liquid is just the chicken stock and the roux beer. And like whatever comes out, and the beer. Yeah. There's no tomatoes or anything.
No, maybe there are in some variations, but in this one there was not.
Cool. No, yeah, it looked super good. We love those flavors.
Such a warm, comforting dish. One thing when I make jambalaya, I usually make my own spice blend, Cajun spice blend. And I prefer, I didn't have any. I had one of those, like, it's called Slap Your Mama, like Cajun spices.
Mm-hmm.
The thing, it's good. The thing with that one is it's so salty that, like, you can't really use as much as you would want to. So it wasn't as heavily spiced as I like my jambalaya to be. Like, I like my jambalaya pretty spicy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just wasn't able to kind of like hit that level of spice flavor with the like blend that we bought. So
that makes sense.
In the future, I would make my own, salt it separately.
Or you can always go to emeraldlagasse.com, get yourself some essence of emerald.
Essence.
Yeah.
Do a little spritz.
Yeah. You could dress the plate up with a little essence rim going on.
Yeah.
Ronnie loves some good spices on the rim.
Yeah, if you listen to the spot, you know that we love seasoning plates.
we're big on that.
I think about those, like the magazine, advertisements for like cologne, or where you like peel the thing back and like, I know in high school, like girls would like rub the magazine paper like on themselves to smell like the perfume in the magazine. Get some essence of emerald in there a little.
Yeah. Yeah, Food Network magazine, dude.
Rub it around your plate.
Mm-hmm. So funny. Did I tell this on the pod? I think I did, but like when I was in culinary school, we were doing like, I don't know if it was Caesar salad or it might have been like a pasta dish very early on, and and the chef was just like, plate it whatever way you want, and I put fucking Parmesan all over the rim of that motherfucker. That was not what he wanted when he said plate it whatever way you want. That wasn't it.
Yeah, I think that was one of our very early episodes. You were talking about that.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Super amateur at that time. Still am.
You still see a decent amount of that, like parsley all over the plate.
Oh, all the time.
What are you doing? What is this for?
Yeah. I mean, we were big on like no non-functional garnish, right? I mean, that was like, that was very big conversation in school. Jack, as a grad, I mean, definitely like didn't want any non-functional garnish on the plate. If there was no like, let's put some green on this thing just to put green on it. I actually think like when Jack took over as the head chef, he like pulled a lot of that stuff that we were already doing back. It was like, oh no, we're not putting this flavorless thing on top of this plate. And I actually like it. I almost think that was a point of contention of if management was like, oh yeah, like let's make this a little prettier by putting some green on there, and then Jack was like, that doesn't taste like anything, so it doesn't belong on the plate.
Right.
Is there a flavorful thing to put on top of almost anything? Probably.
Yeah.
But as a purist, I understand that, yeah, you're just putting like just whatever fiend herbs on top of every single plate isn't the way to go. I get that. There is a strike a balance between like, if it's a Mexican dish, well then chopped cilantro would probably go great on it.
Yeah. And if you're going to go the micro herb route, be thoughtful about it and like put micro cilantro on there. Sure. We the restaurant I work at now, we have an avocado toast. Actually, this one kind of like hits on all cylinders of what we're talking about, because I think it's a fine dish. I mean, it's avocado toast, right? It's not, but it's got like za'atar spice and then like a chili flake. But the way that it was instructed to me to like plate this is to like sprinkle that shit all over the plate and across the toast. And then it's got like a big old bunch of micro herbs, on top of it, that I'm like, what do these even taste like? What is this for? And on all of like our breakfast plates, we put like, we have these, we just refer to them as breakfast tomatoes, but it's just like a Roma tomato, like a half Roma tomato. It's roasted with it's got like salt blend with, a little bit of sugar and some thyme. And when it comes out of the oven, we hit it with a little bit of vinegar. And it's like a nice thing. And it sits like on a little bed of arugula. It's fine. But it's one of those things I'm like, who actually eats this thing?
Sure.
How many of these plates go out where nobody fucking eats? They're eating a biscuit sandwich. Like, who's eating the tomato? I bet you less than 25% of people that come in here. It's like, what's it really for? I don't know.
What's funny about like those like silly things that dress up a plate is that like to many people, I think that they are like somewhat impressed by that. Yeah. It's like something that they've like come to expect. And when they see it, or maybe they don't expect it, but when it's like this like ooh ah factor, which like, I don't know, as a cook, you're kind of just feeling a little jaded about it. And like for all the reasons that we're saying, like we have like strong stances about like what a plate should look like and what type of thing you should put on a plate. But like, that's not the reality for most people. So in a lot of ways, like doing those things, you'll probably lose that battle as a chef with management over you.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I would
100%.
say. Yeah.
it's like you said, it's kind of a losing battle. It's one of those things that's like I'm not really going to speak up about it. I don't feel passionately enough about that thing. Like if management wants that on their plate, then that's fine. I don't really.
It's not the hill to die on. There's plenty of hills to die on. It's probably not.
Yeah, I'm fighting bigger battles. That's the breakfast tomato isn't the one that I'm going to go to war for. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. How's everything going? Anything to speak of with the build out and everything, or still no news is good news, or any progress as far as like, I mean, you've kind of said this phrase of like when the ink is dried. Well, like, are we still wet?
So yeah, ink is still a little wet. It's just corporate shit, you know. It just moves super slow. Like, everyone that needs to give us the thumbs up has given us the thumbs up. We've gotten like confirmation emails from, you know, everyone important, and they've all, you know, kind of given us the congrats and just like we're moving forward with this, and we're sending it over to this department, and you know, they'll process the paperwork. It's just slow, really slow moving. So, and also initially it was like February we were supposed to be moving in, and then now they're like hopefully by March, and then the other day I heard someone say April. So it's just like, who knows? There's a lot of construction going on there. It's going to happen. It's happening soon, but you know, there's loose ends that I think a lot of people just need to get tied up. But I am hoping to go and see the facility again next Friday. Last time we were there, we had to, you know, it was like still a full-on construction site, and we had to go in with like full PPE. So like hard hat, goggles, cut-proof gloves, steel-toe boots, so like a safety vest, the whole thing. But just recently we got word that it's now PPE free, so we should just be able to walk in. So if that to me tells me that it should be like all the like construction should be wrapped up there. So
that's awesome. And so you see floors and carpets or whatever they're gonna have, and
the biggest thing is the countertops. Like when we were in there, it was like frames of things, you know. So it's like it's kind of you have an idea of what the stations are, but until like the countertops are in and like all the equipment is like set, you really don't have like a clear understanding of what each station actually looks like. So, looking forward to getting in there and seeing what that all looks like. There's just been a lot of moving parts. Last week was really hectic. Lots of big caterings. We did like a private dinner, which we don't do typically.
Went well?
Yeah, it went well.
Okay. Well, we do have a Noodle Boy holiday coming up, which I'm super excited about.
We do have a Noodle Boy
Christmas coming up super hot.
Yeah.
What's Christmas? Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Either way. Wednesday.
So this episode will drop on Tuesday. So maybe we can talk a little bit about Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's talk Christmas.
Dude. We're doing Mexi Christmas.
We are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about it. Hopefully Rochelle's not with her ear pressed against the door because she doesn't know. She doesn't know yet. But on her wish list, she asked for a tortilla press.
Yes.
And some like heirloom masa. So I got this like really badass, it's like a 4-pack of different kinds of masa. There's like a blue masa. It's like blue, red, yellow, and white. And so we're gonna make some fresh tortillas. We're gonna make some tamales, maybe some sopes.
Tortilla. Sopes.
Yeah. Oh. So I can't let her listen to this episode on Tuesday.
Shh. Yeah, you say, give me your phone, keys and phone. Can't go anywhere for the next 24 hours.
But yeah, that'll be super fun. I haven't made tamales in forever. So yeah, she's like, maybe we can do this. And I'm just like, trying not to give away too many details.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome.
specifically tamales, because obviously masa is like the number one most important thing in that. Like, we can do tacos, we can go buy tortillas, but
Right.
that's not what we're doing. But yeah, no, it should be fun. I haven't. What are your thoughts on like the proteins and stuff for our tacos?
Ooh. Well, also I want to take a shot at making some mole.
Oh
So
yeah, we did talk about that a little bit.
if you're gonna take on like some taco stuff, I mean, certainly I'll help with whatever chop shop that is required for that. But also, I'll probably do it before I come down to you. I think it's like I'm gonna try to work that all out this weekend. But I'd like
Okay.
to make like a deep dark mole, maybe some chicken
Okay.
mole, maybe, and maybe we could stuff up some tamales with some chicken mole, even.
Okay.
Could be a pretty good time.
Sure.
But other than that, I mean, I don't know, do a little carne asada, and we could do some roasted. I mean, again, 4 people, not required to do a million things, but let's do a million things.
Oh, we should do some ceviche.
Okay. Okay.
We can do
Some
that.
real ceviche.
Yeah.
Some real fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Love
Yeah.
that.
Maybe we get like some nice like snapper or something. Would be fun.
Yeah, you love the snapper. I like
I
the
do
snapper
love the
too.
snapper.
Nice and meaty. You got to get that cevicheing early.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Get the leche de tigre.
It's what's that, like a day and a half kind of ceviche? I just think like snapper's kind of like thicker, and it's more chewy, I guess. I don't know how you'd say that, but it has like it's snappier.
Firm.
It's firmer.
It's
Yeah.
firm, but I mean, it's also a good raw fish. So you know,
I would think that you would want to ceviche that for a little longer than you would something more delicate, but
maybe
yeah,
I'll
that
find
sounds
out.
really good.
Yeah,
we're gonna find out.
I'll find out. Don't you worry.
Do you want to go like classic like pico stuff and
Yeah, we should get
guacamole, or should we like
some good
really like
salsas.
go in a different direction? I
Yeah,
made a
let's
hot sauce this week.
get some good salsas going.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, you made hot sauce?
You could call it that. Yeah, it's just kind of like a quick and dirty, like I mean, you've worked with a million Mexicans in the kitchen too, and me as well. It's just like roasted onions, tomato, garlic, and some. I actually has a carrot that I threw in there too. Peeled up a carrot and then sliced it up, and then just roast everything together. Salt and pepper, and some spices, and then yeah, just blended it all together with some vinegar. And and I had benefits of being in North Carolina. Is like I still had a habanero on the vine out there.
Okay.
So I pulled that out and threw that in on my roast as well, and then spun it all up, and it was actually like a really good hot sauce for a few days. We've been crushing it with everything. So yeah, hot sauces.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. Like kind of like we're alluding to earlier, like really good ones can be like fermented or whatever, but these like really quick ones, just roast up some tomatoes, garlic, and onions and spices, and then with some heat, and then spin it up, and yeah, it's pretty easy stuff.
Yeah, I used to work with this cook. His name was Pipo, and Pipo would make really great salsas all the time, but he would just boil tomatoes and jalapenos and onion, and whatever else he was putting in that. He would just boil those in water together and then pull them out, blend them up, throw in some lime, some salt,
Yeah,
and call it a day. And his hot sauces were always delicious.
so fire.
Or salsas, I should call them. But yeah, really, really great, easy way to make salsa. And I mean, hard to beat.
Sure.
Really.
Dude, I love like the salsa verde. Super simple, kind of similar, right? Just like roast up like set of tomatoes. Primarily it would mostly be tomatillos and jalapenos, but a lot of the same ingredients: onions and garlic and lime and cilantro, and yeah, roast it all up together and
I can't remember if I've talked about this on the pod before. I saw a video, and this is something I'd like to try since we will be making our own tortillas. But I watched this video where this woman, she steeps the skins of the tomatillos in hot water, and then she strains that, and she uses the tomatillo skin tea, if you will, quote unquote, like the tea water. She uses that in the masa, and there's something about there's like an enzyme in it or something, and it makes the tortillas super pliable. So she was actually like, to demonstrate it, she actually like cooked one off, and then she like crunched it in her hand, and then when she opened her hand, the tortilla just like sprung back to life. It didn't like crumble in her hand like a lot of corn tortillas will.
Oh, interesting. Obviously for corn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I've made, I don't know if I've ever really made corn tortillas. I've done flour tortillas, I'd say quite a bit, probably 15 to 25 times I've probably done flour tortillas. I do you need a press? Is that part of it? You
I mean,
can't really do it without it,
you
or
can
you can.
flatten them, but I think that's probably the most like efficient way to do it.
Yeah,
With the press.
and it has to do with what you're talking about, which is like a flour, like chewy, like flour ball, like that's really easy to work with.
Right.
But with the corn, with the masa, it's not as easy to work with and can crumble and fall apart pretty easily.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Are you going to try? You want to try that with the?
Yeah, I mean, if we get some tomatillos, we could do a green salsa, so salsa verde or something. Yeah, we could definitely do something like that. It'd be fun. I'd be interested just to experiment with it too. Yeah, I haven't made tortillas in a very long time either. I think the last time I did it was actually at Plump Jack. We used to do these like cooking competitions where it was like a friendly like um, cooking competition between like members of like all of the Plump Jack properties. There was, we had like a bunch of different locations, all different things. They weren't all like the same restaurant or anything, but we'd all get together and had a cooking competition out in Napa, and it was a taco competition, and so I made a blue corn tortilla with like lime zest and what was it? Lime zest and Thai bird chilies. And the first batch I made, I did I think maybe 3 Thai bird chilies like in the whole batch. And dude, the tortilla was so spicy. I had to remake them because it was like, dude, blew my tits off. It was so fucking hot. But I ended up doing
Thai chilies.
Yeah, I ended up doing like a beef cheek taco. It was like a Thai beef cheek taco. It was really good, but it was, the first batch was way too hot. I think I ended up doing like a half chili in the next batch. Gave it a little bite, but it wasn't so damn hot.
Sure. That's cool that they used to do that. I never participated in anything like that. But what was it like? Because what Plum Chocks has like the restaurant in North Lake, and then there's what 2 restaurants in San Francisco. There's like a Plum Jacks, Balboa, and then there might be is it Spring Valley? Is that the name of the town?
Yeah, I don't know. I know there's like
outside of the city. Yeah,
it's changed since I was there. One was like I don't even know. But then we had like our like clothing store like in the village, and then there was like wineries as well. It was like anybody that wanted to like participate.
Sure.
But yeah, no, it was always a fun event.
Wax those Plum Jack sport motherfuckers or what, dude?
Yeah,
took home the gold.
Definitely. I didn't take home gold. No, I didn't.
Silver?
I got second. Yeah, silver.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a fun event. I mean, get to go to Napa, and
Napa's a good time.
Yeah, dude, that place is crazy. if you go there in like the spring, or I mean spring or summer probably, the second you step out of your car, you're just like hit with like an overwhelming aroma of like flowers. It just smells so good there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Great place. I can't afford to be there, but
it is expensive. It is like, I don't know, from the outside looking in, it's super bougie, right? You're like popping like
super
collared shirt and all that. But like at the end of the day, a lot of these people are just like farmers and industry people really too. So they are they are a little rough around the edges at times. You know, it's like a very big, like obviously like a food town. And yeah, the winos are a fun bunch once they get a couple glasses of wine in them, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and all the food around there. I mean, if you don't know, that's where like the French Laundry is, and I'm sure just like a slew of other really nice high-end restaurants. But yeah, I think there's a pretty steep I don't know, what's the word? There's a lot of I mean, you're not going to last as a restaurant in that town unless you're putting out really high quality food. So
Sure.
yeah, everything around there is really good.
Sure. We went once to the Culinary campus out there, the Culinary Institute campus out there, and had dinner, and it was awesome. Yeah, a lot of great food, a lot of great wines. Go out there and tour some vineyards. It's a really good time.
For sure.
Yeah. Free tastings. Hit those free tastings up. Get 6 of them down in a day. No problem.
Yeah.
Slugging them back. If you know someone,
that's the way to do it.
The one time I ever went down was like I was working at Plum Jack's, and then like go to Plum Jack Winery, and then but also just like once you're in like that, you're like, and everyone around the town knows of Plum Jack Winery, so then you're like, oh yeah, I work for this industry company, and you just get hooked up with in the tasting room for sure. I'm not sure that, I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure that's the person in the tasting room's job, is to hook people up and get them fired up, and no better way to sell some wine than get someone a little tipsy and think that they need it, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, it definitely helps to be in the industry and to know somebody that knows somebody.
Or just lie.
Yeah.
Just straight up lie.
Yeah. Drop some names.
Yeah. Make up some names.
Yeah.
They won't know. They'll agree with you.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, I know that person, because they don't want to be the nerd that doesn't know the person.
Right. Yeah, that's that's a good point. I'm gonna give that a try some more.
Dude, there's that really good it was on the Jimmy Kimmel show, and he had like a bit where he like went to Coachella, and he's asking all these people that are walking to the stages about these bands that he just made up. And they're like, oh yeah, dude, I'm stoked to see him, man. And like it's so funny.
That's good.
Yeah. People need to not be the nerd.
Yeah. There's a lot of those different kind of like thought experiment kind of, you know. I remember when gluten-free was like a, you know, big buzzword back, you know,
hot in the streets.
Yeah, it was like people thought it was like this fad diet. And I remember there was kind of like a man on the street interview, and he was like, are you gluten-free? And you know, these like fitness people who'd be like, well, you know, I try to be, and you know, I really like to take care of myself, this and that. But you know, none of them could actually name what like anything that had gluten even was. So yeah, they're just full of shit. Everyone's just trying to fit in.
If you ask me one more time, if the rice has gluten in it, I'm going to freak the fuck out. Don't come to a restaurant, tell me you're celiac, but not know that rice doesn't have gluten.
100%.
You know, if you're celiac, you know what you can eat. Don't eat wheat.
Amen.
But, I mean, you're probably not celiac, so eat some bread. Bread's a good time.
Some bread in you.
Yeah. You don't have to eat a ton of it every day. Just some, most days. That's my motto. Keeping it real.
All right.
Keeping it real.
I think it's time.
Ooh.
I think it's time.
Ooh.
What are you? Idiot.
You stupid idiot.
I'm an idiot sandwich.
You're an idiot.
Of all the idiots, you stand alone.
The idiot sandwich.
It's the idiot sandwich.
It's the idiot sandwich. Idiot sandwich.
Okay. Okay, I'll kick it off.
Kick it off, buddy.
Yeah, so anytime that you're using any piece of equipment in a kitchen, you should always really check to make sure it's not on. Or I shouldn't say it's not on when you should that if you're using a blender, that the blender dial isn't at a 10, and when you plug it in, it's not just going to start ripping, This baker that I worked with, or he's not really a baker, he was doing some baking. He puts on his the big mixing bowl into the mixer, and it's fully loaded up with flour, and he didn't check his dials. It was turned up to max. He turned that thing on, and the whole kitchen was a winter wonderland. Poof.
Poof.
Everywhere.
Snowing. It is going to be a white Christmas, Ronnie.
It was.
Say his
a
name.
white Christmas.
Or her name.
Sheffrey.
I thought you were going to say Mike Garcia.
Oh, do you do that too? I'm sure it's a comment.
No. I guess he wasn't pastry when you were there.
More than one person has done this.
I mean, we've probably all done it. I've definitely plugged in the Vitamix without a blender sitting on the machine, and it just starts spinning as soon as I plug it in. Definitely done that. I'm trying to think if I've ever done it with like something on there. I don't know that I've ever done that. Yeah. We've all stirred something a little too hard, though. I will say that.
Oh yeah.
And I can take responsibility for you got a bowl of flour, you're fired up, you're getting that shoulder working, get that exercise in, and then poof. And all the baking soda, it was just like 2 tablespoons, but now it's not in the bowl at all.
Dude, eggs are the worst. When you when you have to crack a whole bunch of eggs, like a whole case of eggs, and you blend it all up, dude, it doesn't matter how careful you are. At some point, there's going to be eggs leaving that vessel, and they all stick to each other. So like when a little bit gets out, it like drags a bunch out with it and just makes a mess. And it's something that I deal with frequently, unfortunately. But it just, no matter how careful you are, it could be like the very last, go to put the lid on and jostle it a little too hard and all sloshes out.
Could happen to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations, Sheffrey.
Congratulations.
I don't know if this is your first idiot sandwich, but it won't be your last.
What do you got?
I have one off Reddit that I liked.
Okay.
And I will preface this with this is another thing that I think has happened to many of us on different scales at different times. But I'll just read the entire post. And I decided to fry up some pork chops for dinner the other night. I grabbed the big storage jar of flour from the shelf, added salt, pepper, paprika, etc., and dusted the chops before putting them into the pan. When I tried to flip them, I noticed that they were a little more stuck to the pan than usual, and the residue turned black. My wife noticed how sweet the pork chops tasted, and it was at that moment when I realized I coated the pork in confectioner's sugar and not flour. So I've never done that, but I've certainly grabbed something that I thought was either salt or was sugar and was the opposite, so that guy got pretty good. And then there was a comment under this post that was maybe even funnier. I I made gravy like that once. Grabbed powdered sugar instead of flour while making a roux. It made the prettiest, glossiest, smoothest, sweetest gravy in history.
That's super funny.
Idiot sandwich goes to you.
Idiot sandwich, some candied pork chops.
Taste those that thing before you coat your pork chops in it.
Yeah, this reminds me. When we were in Thailand, my dog sitter was staying at my house, watching my pup, and she messages me a picture of a jar that I have in my cabinet of a white powder, white kind of flaky salt-like powder, and she was like, "What is this?" I think she was a little freaked out because she added it. She was making some like shrimp something for like an office party or something and I think she was a little freaked out because what she thought it was not. What it was MSG, and she was relieved afterwards. But I was like, it's probably your food's going to taste delicious, but depending on how much you added, everyone's going to be very thirsty. So. Pretty funny.
Good. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the story was that she put it in her coffee.
That would have been funny.
Why did I think that was that? But I was like, oh, like if you were drinking your coffee and you thought that was sugar and it wound up being MSG, you'd be taste delicious.
I think she did think it was sugar, and she added it to. I think it was shrimp. Maybe unless she was making like a marinade or something, but
sure.
It's like, yeah, that's MSG. She was really relieved afterwards. I don't know what she thought it was, but I don't know. Pretty funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh shit! The bus is pulling up, Brian.
Oh shit! I gotta grab my bag. I still don't have any pants on.
You gotta get your panties on, Brian.
That's the best thing about doing this pod. You only see me from the shoulders up, but no pants.
Yeah.
Never pants.
Ain't got no pants on.
We're in the Never Pants crew over here. Never Pants Noodle Boys.
Facts.
How do you do it? Let me hit you with some knowledge.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
I have a tip.
Okay.
It's a general tip. But there's a lot of things that, I don't know, food companies will dress up their product and they'll make you think that you need to buy this product.
Mm-hmm.
There happens to be a lot of really simple things to make
Right.
that you shouldn't be buying. And just a couple of them. If you're buying simple syrup at the store,
dude, I was gonna just say that
you cannot buy simple syrup.
No,
it's sugar and water. Bring it up to a boil. It's the cheapest thing that you could possibly make. It takes less than fucking 5 minutes. I mean, if you're in a restaurant, it might take 5 minutes for like a big ass batch, but you don't need a big ass batch. You need probably a quart, maybe.
It's just equal parts.
Equal parts sugar, water. Turn it to a boil. Cool it down. Simple syrup.
I wonder if you would even. I mean, if you put equal parts water and sugar into like a water bottle and just shook it for long enough, it would probably just dissolve, right? I mean,
science. Chemistry.
I know that is one. I'm glad you said that one first because I was going to say that's one I see in grocery stores all the time. Like, and I always go, "Who is buying this?
$3.50,
dude? It's
that
crazy.
Little
we got to get in the simple syrup business."
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's where the money is at.
It's also just like, I mean, not to be so woke, but it's like you're just like, it's so wasteful to like buy the little bottle, right? Like, you have sugar. Sugar comes in a paper bag anyway. Just, you have water, hopefully.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're really thirsty if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that thing. Really what sparked this conversation was Sam was saying that she wanted to like start purchasing ghee to use on food. And I was like, that's just clarified butter. Like, you could just throw the butter on the stove and you'll make yourself some ghee.
Yeah.
So I think that's one that like they put it in a little 4-ounce like glass jar and charge you $6 for. Like, butter's already expensive. Just make it out of that. The other thing is, I mean, only because we mentioned it earlier, was like really quick, like salsas. I'm not saying not to buy hot sauces. I think like buying some cool hot sauces and trying some new stuff is really fun actually. But you can, if you have some things lying around the fridge and you just roast some things, and like even if you have to add like a little water to it and then throw it into the blender, like you know, if you take tomatoes, a hot pepper, like I said, garlic, onions, roast them, add water as needed, throw it in the blender, done. Easy money. Save yourself a couple bucks. You also have yourself, you'll learn yourself a new skill. And yeah, you use some of that stuff that was already not in great shape in the fridge. So congratulations to you for taking my advice.
Thank you, Professor Brian. There is a grocery store near us, and they make. I really like the grocery store. They've got a really great selection of produce. Their dairy is really good. They have great cheese selection, and then they have like a whole portion that is just like, you know, pre-made food items, take home, ready bake. You know, most grocery stores have something like that. One of the things that I have seen in there, and Rochelle will correct me on what the actual price is on this, but I think that the price is like $16. It's a cheese quesadilla.
$16,
dude. Maybe it's a chicken quesadilla, but I think it's a cheese quesadilla, and it's cold. It's in like a clamshell for you to bring home and pop in the microwave, or maybe you throw it on your stove. In which case, you're doing the exact same amount of work that you would if you were to just make a quesadilla, right?
Flour, tortilla, and cheese.
Dude, for $16, you can buy like 3 packs of flour tortillas and one of those like jumbo size bags of shredded cheese. And you could have chicken or cheese quesadillas for the next month.
For days, weeks, months. Yeah. Are people just afraid to cook?
Yeah, I mean, presumably.
It's interesting that people who, so not everyone has to be a foodie, and not everyone has to be like so interested that they're trying new recipes, but like you got to think like everyone, to be like a functioning adult, has to like, you have to be able to do a few things in the kitchen. I would think. And if you can't make a cheese quesadilla, well, you got something to strive for. And get out there, get on the old YouTube, learn how to make a cheese quesadilla. Because I promise, I believe in you. You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it.
Let's see. I was going back and forth. I had a couple different tips that I was leaning
Ronnie's
back and
got
forth.
a bunch of tips.
I'm gonna go with this one. This is a kitchen tool that I waited way too long to buy myself. They're really fairly inexpensive. Get yourself a kitchen scale.
Oh yeah, nice.
You know, I mean, I use it for all kinds of different things. I'm not a baker. You know, I rarely am like weighing ingredients to bake. What I use it for more often than not is like portioning meats and stuff. I've talked a lot about like buying larger quantities of meats and like breaking them down. I like to, you know, weigh things out. Just kind of get like even portion sizes. But I mean, there's a million different uses for a scale, you know, and
it's cheap too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to get an expensive one. I think mine was, you know, maybe $20. Yeah, get yourself a kitchen scale. It'll help you out for sure.
For sure. Yeah, and as someone who does on occasion bake or make bread or whatever, that like you're never going to get more accurate of measurements than by using like a gram scale. So if you're like reading a really good recipe is probably going to be written in grams. And yeah, you can't get more accurate at that. And especially when it comes to like specifically flour, because flour can be really packed or it can be really fluffy depending on how you're measuring it. So like a cup of flour can be like vastly different amounts of flour depending on how densely packed that thing is. And just the fact of just the motion of like scooping the flour with your measuring cup out of the bag is kind of like pack it down a ton. If you bonus tip, if you don't have a scale and you're measuring flour by cups, well, take a spoon and like scoop it out of there and then like kind of softly put it into your cup, because that's going to be slightly more accurate than like scooping where you're going to get like a really like tough packed like cup of flour. But yeah, I mean the real tip is measure flour, measure salt and yeast when you're doing baking with a gram scale. It's the best way to go. But yeah, I think to your point, like just great to have for other things as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that about sums it up. I did have a disclaimer.
Oh, disclaim away.
Yeah, we gotta cover ourselves a little bit here. You know, the idiot sandwich. Obviously, it comes from Gordon Ramsay, right?
Does it?
I mean, we do have him in our edit.
Okay.
Flipping through YouTube the other day, he's got a YouTube cooking show called Idiot Sandwich, where he has like, I don't know, YouTubers and stuff on there. Gordon, don't sue us. We love you, and we just, you know, it's an ode to the idiots, and also have us on your show.
Did he call you?
He did. I just got off the phone with him. Actually, he sent me a cease and desist. He was very angry. But the winner of his show, he's got these like big like foam bread hands, and then he anoints the idiot sandwich to the winner, and he makes them go, "What are you?" Scream, "I'm an idiot sandwich."
Yeah. Yeah, throw us on there.
Yeah. So Gordon Ramsay, I know you're listening. Get us on your show. We want to work with you. Maybe we can get you on this show. It'd be great for your publicity. And you can. Yeah. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two. Teach you stuff.
God help him. He needs it. He needs a couple pointers, I'd say.
So I think that about does it.
Y'all,
for us,
I think we made it.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Like, subscribe, follow, share. Send us an email. whipcreamsalmon@gmail.com.
Yeah, and if you haven't gotten your friends or family a gift, you can send them the link to this podcast and say, Merry Christmas. Check this out.
They'll be fucking stoked.
They'll be stoked.
They will not think that you forgot Christmas for them at all. No. They're going to be stoked.
Yeah.
And we're stoked that you're listening, and we love you. And, airway hugs are coming your way.
Yeah, have a very creamy Christmas.
Stay creamy.